Hi guys, good evening. Welcome to my Best Losses Monday, Adam's Attack Edition. Uh, Thank you for being here. We are listening to DMCA Safe playlist on Spotify. It's very good to have you guys here, and just anyway, it feels pretty good. Tonight I have a couple of very quick, program announcements for regarding the stream. We are about to start a new stream series. It's called Adopt Nicola. It will be featured on. It will be Sundays at noon, and if you put exclamation mark adopt, you will see the announcement. The first match is scheduled to happen on June 20th, which is this coming Saturday, and it will be, against WGM Chiu, who is streaming under her name aka Nemsco. So give her a shout out. She was part of Botas Live. Now she has her own streaming channel, and she's an excellent streamer. She's probably going to be the fastest partner ever in history of universe. Hey Frappuccino, it's good to see you here. Anyway, welcome to the channel. And in addition to that, hey Screws07, thank you for joining us. So couple of other announcements. So there are a couple of reasons for this particular select choice. I really wanted to have some opportunity to play some strong games against all these very strong players that play there. My score against WGM Chiu is actually 0 for 5, and I think opportunity for adoption is definitely there. So that will be on the 21st. But I'm gonna be do the little bit of I want to say troll, but the catalyst for this particular announcement is basically, and I'm gonna share this video. I'm gonna stop the music for a second, and so you can actually watch this particular video. I basically played a game against the Hand and Brain team of Nico and Chiu, and this is, I won the game, and I ended up being roasted a little bit.
It's fine, Nicola.
So
Listen, it's fine. I hope you're happy, Nicola. You made a little girl cry. You made me cry today, Nicola. I hope
yeah,
you feel good about yourself.
No, not like this, Nicola. Nicola's about to offer a draw. No, Nicola, we don't take those. No. Okay, you won that game fair and square.
No, Nicola, all right? You made me cry.
Oh,
You
okay.
made me cry.
I guess we have
I
very different
okay.
stories.
Anyway, I'm actually gonna put this clip in
You made
chat
me
if you
cry. I
guys
hope you're
want to take a
happy,
look at it.
Nicola.
But anyway, bottom line, that was the impetus behind behind this particular match. And I needed to give an opportunity for revenge to both Chiu and Nico promised he's gonna actually come on Sunday and provide moral support for Chiu. Anyway, so the series is starting this coming Sunday. That's June 21st, noon Eastern time. That's Eastern/New York time, and I'm looking forward. To the match. I'm a heavy underdog. Chiu is 400 points better rated than me, which basically means she has a in a match of 100 games, it would be 92-8 for her. That's the expected performance. Hey, Anonymous Vegeta, thank you. Vengetta, thanks for joining the stream. And she also adopted Alexandra Botez rather handily, I thought, and Alexandra Botez is a stronger player than me. Hey, Hedgehog 1963, thank you. Welcome for joining the stream. I am, as an introduction to tonight's streaming session, I'm doing a little. I'm announcing the new streaming series for it will be. The series is called Adopt Nicola, and it's going to be Sundays at noon Eastern Time. Right now, we have Chiu scheduled for June 21st. We actually don't yet have anybody confirmed for the 28th, but for the 5th and 12th, we have WGM Dina Belenkaya, who, and I'll when the time comes closer, was very eager to play such a match against me, and then I have another similar match against Alessia Santarago. Anyway, thank you. Hey, Chesbra, thank you for the subscription to Tier 1. It's good to see you here. Welcome to joining us. I am announcing a new Adopt Nicola series for every Sunday at noon, started with WGM Chiu this coming Sunday, and the match will be commentated by Grandmaster Aryan Tari. At least that's what he promised, and I think he is expected to confirm. All right, but to get back to our normal, usual My Best Losses series, I feel really weird about my chess these days because this weekend, for example, and this is the game that's going to be the first I'm going to show. I played my usual Adam's attack against Anamaya, and I came up with a very good position, but somehow I lost track, and it's very illustrative how I lost track and ended up losing the game. Then I play, the accuracy is pretty horrible, 34.8. Then against Eric, who is actually in chat now, and thank you for joining us, I managed to forget the theory line in an opening that I consider I know, and then that ended up being rather unpleasant rather quickly. And lastly, I had then I played a reasonably almost perfect game against Andrea Bottas yesterday. So the second game, hey Ulon, thank you for this. Thank you for the gift to Anamaya. That's very greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. So I also tried to play some bullet games that didn't go well. So I'm not feeling very good about my chess. So to cut a long story short, the two games tonight feature Adam's Attack. Adam's Attack is my commonly used response against Najdorf Sicilian, and you can actually, you will see it. So it's, normally for c5, book moves, d6, d4, takes, knight c3, a6. So this is Najdorf Sicilian, and hey Luigi, yes, managed to lose a minus 27 position as a black skill. Yeah, I hear you. I can relate there. I played some really awful games. Anyway, so this is Najdorf Sicilian. It's a standard position. It's considered to be the critical variation of Sicilian. It's supposed to be very reasonably comfortable for white. But I'm very familiar with this position, and Anna Rudolph and I have gone over a couple of games there. I'm familiar with the ideas, and I usually play Adam's Attack with h3. The idea here is to play g4, put the bishop on g2, and basically control this diagonal, and especially focus on the d5, because this is the key field in all the Sicilians, and in Sicilian generally, because d pawn got exchanged for the c pawn, white doesn't really have that many pawns to control the center. In other words, black has these two E and D pawns, central pawns intact, and white only has E4 pawn. So anyway, so I like Adam's attack. It's not that common. Lots of people don't know it, and I'm reasonably familiar with this position. Anyway, so E5 is one possible response to this. I am not the... Hey Ashraf, thank you. I was just complaining how my chess was very weird over the weekend. So anyway, you know, I'm showing a loss. I think Anamaya and I played this on Sunday morning, and anyway, I wasn't very happy about losing this game. So, you know, E5 is a normal standard position. The interesting part about, you know, Adam's attack is that it's important to note here that the knight really needs to go to E2. Which appears unusual, but if you consider that white's plan is to push g4, put bishop here, and then this knight is supposed to hop on f5. And if it hops on f5, then, you know, it threatens this bishop that usually ends up on e7, threatens this pawn on g7, pushing on g6 is not the most opportune because this pawn blocks any bishop on g7, so that bishop would be very passive. And also exchanging this bishop for the knight on f5 after ef5, something like this, bishop f5, ef5, all of a sudden this bishop on g2 becomes a monster. And, you know, and there is also a question, where does this rook go? And because normally, you know, this bishop comes to e3, and it ends up being a very comfortable position for white. I'm reasonably familiar with this, and I actually like playing this. Anyway, so keep going. Bishop e7 is one of the, and I'm going to switch to analysis here. It's considered one of the best moves. I'm going to go back. We're still very much in theory, and you will notice that anyway. So bishop e7 is actually one of the top moves, and bishop e7, g4, and you will see how this Stockfish, you know, makes some interesting statements about the position, and then it goes down. And, you know, after g4, b5, that's actually the most critical move. Black really should not allow this, you know, development on g2 and then d5. And, you know, after bishop g2, bishop b7, which is a mild inaccuracy because this bishop is really not very well placed in b7. The best plan for black in this position is actually to put bishop on e6 and then get the knight either to c5 or c4, you know, something along these lines, and then put the rook on c8 and exercise pressure, especially if white castles long. I'm very familiar with these positions. I have played quite a lot of games, so there's quite a lot of very strong players, and I have very good results in Adam's attack. So putting the bishop on b7 also makes the knight, you know, jump to f5 uncontested, and that also suggests to white that, you know, the best strategic plan is to get the knight there and to castle short and then push f4. And that's basically what happened in this game. So bishop e3, you know, computer likes g5, which is in my book a little bit too aggressive initially, but it's obviously playable. b4, knight d5, and here is one of the justifications for Adam's attack. It's, you know, this bishop is very strong. It forces the control of d5. The threats against the e4 pawn are not there. And, you know, once black takes, all of a sudden, you know, white has an outpost on e4, outpost on f5, and I kind of like this position. So knight d7 is a good move. Knight goes to c5, and you know, the choice here, and this is one of the, if you want, the crucial, you know, positions of the game, is that the computer here likes, but very small margin, to the extent that it's negligible, prefers castling long. With the bishop on b7, I actually prefer to castle short, and you're gonna laugh. Why? Because the fact that king actually defends bishop on g2 opens some tactical possibilities for white here. Anyway, so anyway, bishop g5, which is actually not a good move. But it's, you know, and obviously, as we discussed, knight ends up on f5, and here is, you know, it threatens bishop on d6, and threatens pawn on g7, and you know, this is kind of the end of the opening. It's it's move 14. And you know, and Anna Maya is a FIDE master and a very strong player, and I can only conclude that I have actually outplayed Anna Maya in opening. I'll take plus 1.61 against the FIDE master in any universe, if you want. It's just you know, it's a very good position for me. So, you know, to continue here, you know, and this is actually, very frankly, I don't want to say the very last good move I played in this game, but it's very close. And let me continue. Black castles, that's actually the best move. And here is the first in series of if you want, misses here for white. Miss number one is, very frankly, you know, there is a very simple variation here, and I'm going to illustrate it. It's basically this, and you know, it's and white is up a clean pawn, and you know, it's definitely a better position. And you know, and that's all the computer considers the best move. You know, and it's probably better than just you know, exchanging bishops first and then taking on d6. It's probably better because you know, if you just take, there is, and I'm going to show that variation as well. If you just take, then this, and then you have this check on h4 that, you know, it's somewhat uncomfortable and creates some complications for white. And you will notice that now, you know, it's, but I didn't play either one of those moves, which would have been actually better for me. And you know, instead and this was my first mistake here, and you will notice that the move here is not even on top 5. I played queen d2. Now, what was the logic behind queen d2? The queen d2 forces black to exchange rooks, and it also, I was kind of lured by possibility of, if you want, you know, castling long, and I'm actually going to castle long in this game, and then playing for the f-file that's going to be opened here. And very frankly, that's stretching the position. It's not a very good idea. It's not a very good strategic plan, and it you know, it kind of it's not in line of what the position really demands. And the strategy here was basically, exchange the bishops, take the rook, take this pawn. You have a monster knight, and you should be able to convert. This bishop is not very well placed, and knight on d6 is an octopus. Anyway, moving on, so exchange, I'm following the same plan, and you will notice that this valuation has already changed, but I'm assuming that I'm winning here, and which turned out to be a significant mistake on my part. I simply overvalued my own position. Anyway, so knight c4, knight b6 is actually not a good move. Knight c5 would have been better. And, I had here an opportunity, and this was actually the last opportunity in this game, to go pawn grabbing. And, as my mentor, Anna Rudolph, would say, free stuffs. And, I should have probably gone for it in this position. I didn't. And the end result is I did not, this was a missed opportunity here. All right, so moving on, I do the castle, which is again, pushing the position. And here is one thing that I found very useful when calculating attacks, especially when they're opposite castles. If you count the moves for, yes, Hedgehog, thanks, free stuffs. And on top of it, there is some pressure here and so on and so forth. White black pawns here are further, these two gentlemen here are actually further advanced than these two gentlemen here. So when, and I think Anama actually played a5, which is actually not a good move, but not to belabor the point, these guys are closer to these three pawns than these two guys are to this pawn. And that in itself should have been a signal to me to, that black is faster. And, I have apparently recently developed, or I've always had, an attack bias. So I proceeded with the idea, okay, I want to attack the black king, but I've underestimated how fast these black pawns can attack, and also, black has some rather strange, rather strong moves. In other words, I castled into the teeth of a strong attack, and that was a bad strategic decision, which is why I'm showing this particular game. My best losses. So that's one key move, and then I continue with the attack, and knight c4 is actually not the best move. Computer considers prophylactics. But frankly, this is a natural human move. It generates all sorts of interesting threats, and white is forced to decide how to handle that particular knight. Anyway, so knight e2, and and I'm continuing my roles, inaccuracies. I really should have, and this is the computer suggestion, I should have basically bitten the bullet and recognized that this knight cannot be tolerated here, and this bishop needs to chase it. That was the point of this particular variation. This variation, which would be, with queen f2, a4, bishop f1. I'm sorry, and and something like this, and this would have been a better option. In other words, I should have switched into defense mode right about here, which, as we already discussed, is not always easy. Anyway, so I'm gonna go back to the game. Knight c4 was played. queen e2 was an error. Queen c7 is a very strong move. Basically, it's a thematic attack in motive in Sicilian. C file is half open for black, and obviously with king being here, that's very strong. Anyway, h5, and very honestly, at this point, I'm playing a series of rather imprecise moves. In other words, I'm continuing to pursue the attack. But, you know, at this point, I would have been better served than this little computer indicates if I've switched into defense mode. But I didn't, and therefore, you know, so a4, obviously, black pushes its time advantage, space advantage here. G5, you know, we're continuing the attack, but black is faster. Not only this is by a tempo faster, it's also very, frankly, it has the knight at a very strong position. It has a queen who is participating in the attack, and that's enough for this to be a completely lost position for white. Anyway, going on, a3 was actually the best move. My strategy was, if black takes on c2, I'm gonna use the black pawn as a shield, but it's a little bit too little too late. Bishop a6 is the best move. It's immediate threat and needs to be addressed. I've chosen to ignore it, which wasn't the best idea in history of universe. And after knight b2 and, you know, an honorary check on h7, I have basically made a blunder, and very honestly, in a completely lost position. There was really nothing there to play with. So, you know, knight d1, there's a bet, knight d3 was better, but, you know, and here I have actually flagged, but the position was completely lost. So, the issue here is very, very, very simple. Where did, you know, we're gonna review this game a little bit more faster. The opening is more or less standard. All of this is standard. If anything, I'm more familiar with this position than Maya, and you know, this position after move 15, 14, or here, this is a key position in this game. I have shown in this game something that's called attack bias. An attack bias here is very simply, I wanted to get at black king. I would have been much better served to understand that the dynamic of this position actually favors black, and that it's much better for me to play this positionally, you know, exchange this bishop, play knight d6, and continue into some sort of, you know, instead of trying to push beyond the limits of what position would allow. It was a painful loss. I really didn't enjoy it, especially since I really like playing Adam's attack and I consider myself very familiar. To went from this position to, you know, in which I'm significantly better, to position in which, you know, I am definitely losing, which is this, in 10 moves, actually hurts even right now. Hey, Silent Killer is back. Thank you for coming to the stream. I started playing chess way back when I was 5 years old. My father taught me. I grew up in Serbia, which was then Yugoslavia, in which, you know, teaching children to play chess was kind of a normal thing to do. Yugoslavia at the time was #2 country for chess, you know, right after Soviet Union. In most of the Olympiads, Yugoslavia was second, Russians were, you know, USSR was the first. So that's how I started playing chess. Then I had a small interlude of about 30 years in which I didn't play chess at all, and now I came back to it. I hope that that answers your question. Anyway, to keep going, so this yeah, I know. And here is another thing that needs to be said. After I managed to, mess this up, I try. This is it's an advantage. It's probably enough for a win, but I tried converting this against computer, a couple of times, and I found that to be a little bit tricky. Nevertheless, uh, it's definitely better than what I actually played in the game. And, I am developing myself a reputation for being an attacking and aggressive player. And I think, there is something to be said about, being too aggressive. So here I already basically lost the advantage. Castling into a face of pawns of b4 and a6 and rook that can get to c6 and knight that's going to jump on c4 was, I don't want to say suicidal, but it was a little bit ill-informed, ill-informed decision on my part. So, no, lesson learned. Don't attack at all price. Hey, Derek, thank you for joining the stream. It's very good to see you. I'm showing a game I lost against Anna Maya actually yesterday morning. And, then if we were to look closer, strategic plan here was to go into all-out attack. And I have, and simply black was faster. And he had tactical motives that I kind of overlooked, and I managed to lose this position. Hey, Chestnut KZ, it's good to see you. Welcome to the stream. So, it's a painful loss. And the reason I'm bringing this painful loss to mind is that it reminds me of another game that I actually played at the beginning of my history with Adam's Attack. It's a game I played against a team of Andrea Bottes and Alessia Santeramo. It was basically after they played their match. It was at the beginning of Alessia's streamer career, and at that time, Andrea has already, has had her own channel, wasn't part of Bottes Live yet. So, believe it or not, I'm going to show that game. And yeah, back and forth fight didn't go your way. The video of that still exists in here, and yeah, I didn't do a very good job with this. I don't want to ruin the thing, but let me see, can I do this? Yes, I can. So they were playing Hand and Brain versus me, and this video still exists as a highlight of Andrea Alessia playing against me. Apparently that's one of the few clips that survived the DSCA thing. Anyway, so I'm gonna post the link to this clip in the. Hey, Halbert, my friend. It's yeah, Screws. I'm actually very happy that this survived the video purge. It's actually a very instructive video. They're starting showing it when I've already kind of managed to mess this position up, but I think it's a very very instructive, which is why I'm going to show you this game. And yes, it survived. The clip survived because it's on Andrea Bottes' channel, so survived the purge. And I really don't want to discuss, the whole DMCA thing. I don't want to get myself into trouble, and I think you guys already know what I think about the whole thing. Anyway, So here is the game. It's again, this is actually not purely Adam's Attack. This was actually Dragon, the Sicilian, and they, if you look closer and we get to analysis, and if you look at the report, you will discover, and I think somebody in chat says that it was minus 27. You will discover that here at some point it was plus 10 something for white. This is actually not a very good move, and Andrea doesn't play that anymore. This gives white a very significant advantage because after what do you do in this position? I think this is actually very instructive. If you are playing accelerated dragon, which is what Andrea who plays to this day, you really should not be playing this. No, I did not. Thank you, Water Power. I didn't. And one solution for me, I have a program announcement for people who came later. Starting this Sunday, we're gonna have a new series on this channel that it's gonna be every Sunday at noon Eastern time, and it's going to be called Adopt Nicola, and which I'm going to provide a small bounty for people who want to adopt, give people opportunity to adopt me. And the first such challenge will be Grand WGM Chiuju, who former member of Bottes Live and a friend of this channel, and she streams as AK Nemsko. There you go. And she was last playing League of Legends, my score against her is 0-5. She's about 400 elo points stronger than me, and she also adopted in their match Alexandra Bottes, which means that I'm a significant underdog in this adoption match, but I get to play 10 games against a very strong player, and also the match will be commentated by Grandmaster Iron Tari, so I'm actually looking forward to it. This is going to be a continuous series. It's going to be happening every Sunday, and I don't have anybody yet scheduled for the June 28th, but afterwards I have a match against Dina Belankai already confirmed, and afterwards Alessia said she's going to try to adopt me. Oh, Harvard, I'm glad. I think Iron is a great guy, and I'm looking forward to him commentating the match. I'm looking forward to the match too. So anyway, if you look closer, you will discover that Andrea and myself were both about 200 or 250 points less than what we currently this. 25-11, that's open. We can always play. Anyway, so 94 is a bad move, and there is no other way of putting it. It's a very significant mistake, because after 94, what exactly does white do here? Knight f6, and then actually I should have played e5, which my bad, but e5 is a clear advantage for white, because where exactly does this knight go? And there is always a threat to push on e6, and if black takes, then you can take with a check and completely bust the white position. So Harvard, I think we can give it a try. I would actually like to play a match against you one of these Sundays. So we'll discuss it. One thing that also needs to be said, and that's actually very good to worth pointing out, I am not very familiar with how well I will play on stream, like while actually streaming. I firmly believe, and that's what Chu actually said, that she's significantly weaker player while she is streaming. So she routinely loses 100 elo points when playing while streaming, and then off stream she does it. So she then plays a long session and then wins back her elo points. Anyway, this wasn't played. I have at this point already kind of decided that I'm gonna play Yugoslav Attack or some version thereof that I'm very familiar with, that I grew up with, and so on. D6. Again, I'm proceeding with, hey, Wadrup, thank you for this. Yeah. Oh, please, guys, let's not discuss ELA. I've been trying to get over 2,000 for a month. To get to 2,000 over a month, I actually think that chess.com is teasing me. I reached 1999 and then lost a few games, and now I'm thinking 1975. So yeah, that's a whole other story. And I actually don't necessarily care about my online rating, but reaching 1999 but not reaching 2000 is a little bit a little bit annoying. Yeah, thank you 2511. Yes, I know it's just a matter of time, but anyway, still. All right, so castles, bishop c4, that's all common. We are not exactly in theory, but this is normal Sicilian play, and computer doesn't like this bishop b3 move. I'm not gonna disagree with Stockfish. Stockfish is is probably the strongest player we'll ever find, but I always felt that playing bishop b3 is, this bishop is very strong here. It also defends d5, threatens f7, kind of limits, black's options. On top of it, it's another defender for any potential, queenside attack by black. Anyway, it's a matter of taste. a5 was actually not a good move. a4 is here, it basically kind of blocks the thing, and that's actually one of the reasons why playing bishop on b3 makes sense, because this allows us to create this blockade that it kind of solidifies white position. And then anyway, b6, and you will notice that this is now white is clearly better, and g4, normal move in any kind of Sicilian, and knight e8. We played this a while ago. This was in November, I think. And I remember this, and I was saying to myself, okay, what is the plan here? And I understand it's a hand and brain, and I understand that this is the first time they actually played together, but I didn't understand this move at that time, and I don't really understand it now, to be very frank. I was looking at this game while preparing this stream. So anyway, bishop g7 is an accuracy, but at that time I thought that I could utilize the dark square complex. I don't really question this move today. It's probably not the most precise, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad move. It's not. It also definitely doesn't threaten white, who has a clear advantage. Anyway, so takes on g7, h4, all understand the very clear moves, and I decided here to kind of not exchange bishops, because this bishop is very strong. Also, this knight here is a pretty good piece. It has all sorts of threats. It can also go here, and I am here in my very comfortable position. I'm attacking. I have the initiative. I have the advantage, and miracle of mere miracles, I have almost 5 minutes on the clock. So anyway. So Rook c5. It's not the best move, but And here is another thing, which is why I like Yugoslav attack or Yugoslav attack type positions here. The plan is clear, and it is basically mating the black king. And how to get to it is also very straightforward. Basically, to push him, baby, if you want, and bust the defenses of the black king, and then continue with a mating attack. I have discovered in my own games and working with Anna that I have a difficulty coming up with a best plan when there are multiple options available. There's really only one plan here for white, and it is go attack and mate the black king. Anyway, so bishop d5, again, not the best move. White takes with a pawn, because that pawn, all of us, that pawn now sent. You don't want to allow e6, which is a liberating move here. If bishop took and then d5, and black would have some counterplay. I'm actually pretty proud of this move because it's a little bit counterintuitive. Anyway. So keeping going, f6, again, not the best move, because it allows me to take on g6, and then takes here, and this is incidentally where this video starts. Queen h6, and the question here is, how for white, okay, I have the initiative, I have a huge attack, I have the H file, I have a king that's in a pretty sorry state, I have all these weak squares around the black king. What's the fastest way to mate the black king? Well, again, and this needs to be a little bit said about this. I like playing attacking chess. I like playing for initiative. I think I'm very good at it, and it comes naturally to me. But the path to victory sometimes is when you are attacking, it can be more narrow than one would like. And that's going to come into play here. All right, so anyway, king e7 is basically the only move here that doesn't result in a very quick mate. c3 is a move that to this day I'm very proud. Basically what white's intention is to bring the bishop to c2 and then get here, at which point, the black king is bound to be mated. And obviously computer like this move, and to this day I'm very proud of that move. It's a very good way to improve a piece and to gain initiative in this position. Rook g8 is an okay move. Computer prefers queen c8, but anyway. Yeah, Halbert, I like it too. I even play attacking chess when I play bullet, and I'm positively atrocious in bullet. But I have won quite a lot of very fast games in bullet, just playing very attacking chess. Anyway, so I'm still playing quite well here, and I'm here judging my chances to be very well. Bishop c2 is the normal attacking plan. Oops, sorry. Here, rook can get to e1, and black really doesn't have any counterplay. What is black's counterplay? sacrifice the rook on c3. This knight is useless. This rook cannot leave because it needs to defend the king. And the pawns were basically blocked. So this is to answer water power. I actually did show. I did actually show that you know, this is my best losses. So I showed the analysis. It was technically a drawn, and I think it's the VOD is still available. I think we did that last week. So anyway, you can look that up if you want. Halvard, well, you know, 2650 GM is, and yeah, here is another thing, you know, playing against the 2650 GM, and God knows I've won. There's one grandmaster that I played a lot, and it's Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, Danya. I played a lot of games against him, and boy, did he manage to, I don't want to use the word weasel out of it because he's a too nice guy to use that word, but did he manage to save some position that she shouldn't have saved. I mean, I ultimately got him, but it took me like 4 or 5 tries. Hey, Latinkista, thank you for joining us. Anyway, so far so good. I'm attacking. This is very good. I'm here in a very good shape, you know. So knight e8 is an okay move. It's kind of defending the immediate threat, which is you know, g6, and you know, I'm still finding best moves, which is, you know, queen h7, rook g7, which is not the best move, but it's, you know, and very honestly, when I looked at this, I'm still salty that I lost this game, to be very honest with you. I mean, I had no business losing this game. Those, you know, anyway, those ladies got away with murder, man. What's wrong with me? Anyway, so, you know, bishop g6, obvious move, and the only move is, and here's a very crucial position. Oh yes, yep. It's that happened to me. That happened to me with Danya. You know, I find something and I prepare it for him and so on, and then he tells me, then he gives me a big story how all these games that he has studied and so on and so forth. It's very hard to out-prepare a grandmaster, let me put it this way, especially somebody who is 2650. So basically, you know, Alessia and Andrea are here holding for their dear lives, basically. I mean, this is, you know, this is clearly winning for white. I mean, this is basically almost having an equivalent of having an extra queen. But, and this is a problem with attacks like this, you know, if you look here, and this is very funny, the first 3 moves, which are all queen moves, well, for obvious reasons, are all good, but then the path is a little bit narrow. So I played this, which is the best move. They have only one move, and I did queen h6, and this is actually an accuracy, and I should have actually played g5, but this is still winning by a very significant margin, because what's the plan here? The plan here is to play queen g6 and then give checkmate here, and it's not immediately clear what's the best way for you know, how black can stop it. And I actually thought at this moment, and that's my error, I thought I was winning here. You know, anyway, so I managed to, I'll show the rest of the game. I'm still here in good shape, and you'll see these guys, the ladies are thinking about counter-attacking, because now, you know, this is a little bit threatened, and they can play b5, and then they can take on c3. And here is another element that needs to be taken into consideration. After queen c8, if they take on c3, I let them take on c3, they actually have a perpetual. Because, you know, they take, I take, if I take with on c3, which is not forced, but it's almost forced, because, you know, if they take on c3 and then I don't take it, they can take on f3 and so on and so forth. They have a perpetual. So my next move is actually a humongous blunder, because I completely underestimated the strength of this, you know, rook c3 move. And what they did was they basically took, and I was under the impression that with queen g6, if they take, which actually is really not a good move, they should have taken on h5, but I was under the impression that I can take, and after they take, and here is when I realized that the variation I was looking for here really does not work, because I was kind of hoping, I overlooked the fact that this rook all of a sudden is threatening my queen, and that my queen here is overloaded. And here, let me go back to this position for a second. So the plan for queen g6 was, if they take here, I'm gonna do this, and I'm a whole rook to the better, and the king, my king is gonna escape the checks, and I'll be fine. What I overlooked in the position, and I still remember this, and forget the fact it's 2 question marks, is that they have this Zwischenzug in which I cannot keep the queen on this diagonal here, and at the same time I cannot, you know, I need to move my queen, and I also, you know, and if I do this, if I play something like this, this is a draw. You know, they have a perpetual. And at this point, I'm still playing for the win. So, you know, and I'm still winning, but you noticed that the variation of this position went from being 10 plus to being 4. So, you know, I find the best move, which is queen h6. They return the knight to g7, which basically means I'm now only a exchange for the better. But the problem here, and this is what I have been struggling since I actually started my second chess career. Hey Daniel, it's very good to see you. Thank you. You know, I now need to switch to defense, and I'm also, if you look closer here, to calculate this position, I have spent 40 seconds. And I don't remember whether this game had an increment or not, but it told, and, you know, after queen d2, which is, I'm still winning, but, you know, I don't have the time anymore. And all of a sudden I'm in a situation that I'm actually not attacking anymore, I'm defending. And historically, I have always had a problem with that. And I'm also find myself in a situation that, you know, I was looking for a mate, and now I need to prevent my king from being mated. So I start making blunders. You know, the easiest move here to win the game was just simply queen d4, and black has nothing. And what happens to me with both Alessia and both Botte sisters is I get into a completely winning position only to be out swindled in the last possible seconds. So, I mean, I wish at some point to, generate, to acquire some, swindling skills, but I didn't. So I played Queen C2, which is actually not the best of moves, but it kind of defends everything. It's not a losing move, but it's, and obviously all of a sudden I'm under the attack. And at that particular time, my abilities to switch from, attack. Hey, Chicken Morales, it's good to see you, my friend. Welcome to the stream. My ability to adjust to being attacked, from being attacker to being attacked, were actually significantly lesser than they are now. I lost on and off streams and on and off, I guess, stronger players and weaker players, quite a lot of games in which I simply didn't make the mental adjustment. And this is a perfect example. Queen d4 is actually still the best move. Queen c5, and I'm still okay here, but the position is starting to be slightly uncomfortable for white. And there is an increment, so I'm not in imminent danger of flagging, but I'm not in my time control comfort zone anymore. And hey, Slayer6776, thank you for the follow. That's very greatly appreciated. So to cut the long story short, I am starting to make simple technical inaccuracies, and I end up making a huge blunder, which is what the problem was basically mental. I'm trying to defend everything, which really wasn't, wasn't the right strategy at that particular time. And the ladies gave me plenty of just, thank you TBC76, thank you for the follow. That's very greatly appreciated, thank you. So I missed this. And the ladies gave me, pozdrav, puno pozdrav at TBC76. That means hello in Serbian. Or like put it this way, the literal translation is greetings. I'm still better here, but this is a fairly uncomfortable position. I make another blunder, and the ladies give me another chance, but I am not doing well in this position. In other words, I went from a position that was clearly winning to this, and I started making huge blunders. I allowed them 2 passed pawns. So right now, this is probably, computer still likes, hey, Halbert, thank you for the host. Appreciate it, my friend, thank you. So here I am, and the computer says it's plus 0.48, but for a human, this is a very uncomfortable position. Having 2 passed pawns, this knight is being developed. There is really no open lines for rooks to start roaming, and and here is another thing that's very interesting. It's subject to some debate whether playing head and brain is actually advantageous to the people who are playing or not. And in 99% of the situation, it's not. But in this case, I think the fact that Andrea and Alessia were kind of into this together and saved the game, and they're congratulating themselves for very good reason, because they are going to win a game that they should have lost. Knight a6. I'm trying. There is one possibility for me to do this, but unfortunately, Rook b7 basically zaps any counterplay, white may have had. And you see, this is now an equal position, but it's an equal position which favors black. mostly because you have these two pawns that are supporting by these two pieces. Hey, Alexandra Samoganova, thank you for joining the stream. Good morning. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's morning in Kyrgyzstan. Samoganova is a fellow streamer and a dear friend of mine. Please let's give her a shout out. And I am thank you, Chesnov. That's very greatly appreciated. So she that's great. Chicken Morales. Let me. I actually want to talk about that a little bit. About that game yesterday. This is a position in which White needs to be very precise not to lose the game. And I'm going to say that I mentally wasn't prepared to, after attacking this, for all this time and basically appear that Black King will be mated at any given moment, to defend accurately. Especially not with the time control. And very frankly, there is another thing that needs to be said. My confidence in my abilities after messing up such a really good position was not exactly very high, to put the least. Anyway, so let me show you the rest of the game. They actually, I didn't really completely miss it up immediately. This is a very good move. This is the one open file in the position. And, there is some counterplay. Knight c5 is an obvious move. Rook h7 is still a very good move. Push and baby is actually a very decent counterplay. b3, and here is where it starts going south for me a little bit. I have actually analyzed this position, and yes, this is the best move. But very frankly, Jesus, forgive me for saying this, it's very hard for human to play this move. It just doesn't feel natural because, and the best moves in this position are very strange, and I think most of the human players would just play a3 and, keep pushing, which actually doesn't win. But the best move is to play knight d3 and then threaten some sort of strange mating attack with the knight defending this, and then this pawn going to b2 and a pawn being pushed to a2. It's if you want a counterintuitive chess, it's best. Anyway, I didn't play that. I played f4, b3, queen c3, queen a3 is obviously a mistake. And, the ladies return a blunder. This is actually, b2 was almost immediately winning. Because, after b2, and let me show this, because if after b2, then what do you play if, White plays something along these lines or play any kind of move with this rook? There is a threat I'm going to just show this, and there is the threat of this, and then putting the knight on c1. Computer doesn't like it, but that's the most straightforward path to move. Anyway, so they play knight d3. I play rook d1, which is perfectly fine. They went pawn grabbing. I should have actually took this pawn, which I didn't. And, and then it became a little bit of, as Dvoretsky would say, a tragic comedy, because we basically kept exchanging blunders. At this point, we're both in trouble. But to, cut a long story short, I was the one who made the last blunder, and this was basically the end. After this, one of the rooks is gone, and I played a couple of more moves, and this was actually a mouse slip, but not that it matters, the position was already lost. So I'm showing this game very, very frankly because, and I think Chicken Morales mentioned my game against Andrea yesterday, in which Andrea ended up being mated in a rather similar position. Believe it or not, I was very nervous yesterday that Andrea is going to find a way to save that position. And I'm not going to show you guys that position. That was actually the only decent game I played on the weekend. I think I like that position. I'm very familiar with it. Opening, it's 150 attack against Pirt's defense. But where did this go wrong? And what did I learn from this? Well, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna go to, say, somewhere, let's see, around this time. It's basically where it went south was that, C3 was a very good move, and this is a completely dominating attack, was that I have underestimated that the few resources that that black had in this position. The plan of which is what I followed to play bishop on h5 and then queen g6 is too slow. And I shouldn't have allowed that to happen. That's one. So that was one mistake. I should have played g5 and aimed to bring at least one of the rooks to bear. I'm basically trying to mate the black king with just a bishop and a queen. And, if somehow I managed to open the F file and was able to bring, this d1 rook to bear, it would have been immediately decisive. So that was the mistake number one. In other words, the plan bishop h5, bishop g6 was too slow. And second, I overlooked, queen g6 is a huge blunder. I simply should have, played instead bishop g6, and you will discover that that this is actually all of a sudden still very advantageous for white. I should have kept the knight pinned and basically defend against this sacrifice on c3 with my bishop. That was probably the key miss of the game. And and finally I have missed, so I made my own queen overloaded. So all of a sudden this knight is no longer pinned. On top of it there is a discovered attack on the queen, and I basically assumed that after this, if this was played, that I'm easily winning. I completely overlooked that they have a Zwischenzug of knight h5, and all of a sudden I have a question is being asked from my queen. Are you gonna defend this? Are you gonna defend c2, or are you gonna take the knight? And the queen was overloaded, and with that, the most of the attack petered away, and all of a sudden I found myself defending here, and I didn't find the best. Although I found the best moves, and I'm actually ahead by exchange, I didn't make the mental transition to defense as opposed to attack. Hey, Worship, my friend, it's always good to see you. I'm showing two very painful games in Sicilian and Adam's Attack and Yugoslav Attack that I have lost. One was yesterday against Anna Maya, and one was few months ago against a hand and brain team of Andrea Bottes and Alessia Santeramo. And believe it or not, the clip of that game still exists. It's in Andrea Bottes' channel, and I'm gonna post the link if anybody wants to watch. It was actually November 21st, 2019. That was, I think, one of the first Alessia streams. And anyway, but believe it or not, this game stayed with me. And I was winning, when I was winning, conducting a successful mating attack against Andrea yesterday. I have I found myself remembering this game and basically saying to myself, I'm not gonna let her get away with this again. I'm gonna actually not gonna show you that game because this is my best losses Monday. I don't think I'm gonna have a stream dedicated to my wins. But at the end of this game, I'm actually going to show you not the opening, but just the initial few moves, because I found that strategy to be very useful against Pirt's defense. So that would be if you want a little outside the note. I also, for those people that came a little bit late, I want to repeat the announcement. The channel is starting this coming Sunday. There will be Adopt Nicola feature, a series of weekly streams in which various players that are significantly stronger than me will be playing adoption matches against me. There will be a bounty offered, and we'll find an outside commentator for it. The first match is against WGM Chiyu Ju, formerly of Bottes Live. Now she has her own very successful channel. She's going to be the fastest Twitch partner in history. I think, she got affiliate after one stream because that stream had like 7,000 viewers. And Grandmaster Arentari will be commentating it. And if you look at if you put the command adopt, there is an announcement of that match. We already have WGM Dina Belenkaya I owe her a match because, and I'll mention that when the match comes, she's scheduled for July 5th, and July 12th Alessia actually wants to try to adopt me. You mean Alessia before this particular stream? Yes. And we're still working on finding an opponent for June 28th. So anyway, stay tuned. The Chiyu is about 400 points ahead of me elo-wise. That means I'm actually very likely to get adopted, but I'm gonna end up playing 10 meaningful games with a very strong player, which honestly for me, I think it's worth it. Hey, Joe Bruin, my friend. Hello. So I'm actually very much looking forward to that match. We'll see how it goes. Actually, it is with the increment one advantage of providing a bounty is that the time control will be 5+2, which I think is in my favor. I'm old and slow. Yes, Joe, I am starting a new series of Adopt Nicola streams. They are going to be on Sundays at noon. Basically, I'll offer a bounty to very strong players to try to adopt me. First candidate was Chiyu, and the reason we did that is because I played a hand and brain game against her and Nico was apparently very upset that I won that particular game. So we'll see. I don't rate my chances as very high to avoid adoption, but the ELO says something like 92 to 8 is an predicted, to result in a 100 game match. And my score against Chiu is 0-5 or something like that. So I never drawn a game against her. So I'm definitely underdog, but we'll see how it goes. I'm obviously not giving up. And so anyway, so that's the announcement. I just need one draw. That's true. I know this, and I'm frankly counting on Aryan to a little bit, provide a little bit of a distraction, and we'll see how that goes. So basically, the channel starting this week is going to have 3 standard streams. My best loss is Monday, which is Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern. My streams with Anna, which are Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, and finally Adopt Nicola, which is at Sundays at noon Eastern. So looking forward to it, looking forward to doing a little bit more streams, looking forward to hopefully my IRL settling down a little bit. And so thank you guys for joining me. And this was painful, but to be very frank, this game stayed with me in a sense that I haven't messed this up. But before I leave, I'm going to show you how I play against Pirt's defense, and I'm gonna just I'll spare you the big details. And then g6, and what I usually do, I play f3, bishop g7, and then bishop e3, castles, and queen d2. This system against Pirt's is, for me, it's called 150 attack or 150 variation, and the name 150 comes from British. Britain through 50s and 60s had its own way of calculating rating players, and 150 at the time was an equivalent of like 18 to 1900 FIDE. And the reason they did this, that they called this 150 attack, because this was a way for 18 and 1900 players to defeat Pirt's defense. So, oh yes, Hedgehog. Oh, ECF still keeps the same thing. So what's the idea here? And I'm not gonna, I actually have a whole stream about Pirt's defense and how to play against it for white. But the idea here is, you castle long, you push g4, h5, you put this bishop here, and then you start attacking. And, if black dilly-dallies even for a little bit with providing counterplay, oh yeah, I didn't know. So English Chess Federation still does ratings like this. Okay, I actually didn't know that. That's amazing. Cool. I guess British exceptionalism is still there, and that's actually good. And and it's very easy to see how it's actually quite difficult for black to have a meaningful defense. And it's like English attack or Yugoslav attack in Dragon and so on. It's a very powerful thing, and I actually Andrea actually went completely into my prep, and it's my prep that I played the games. I even played the game against Hikaru and Daryl Morey, and it's a very naturally playing way to play against Pirc. And no, it's hey Hisoka. This is not Samish. This is called 150 attack. It's basically directed against. This is not King's Indian. This is actually Pirc defense. So it also works against modern and so on and so forth. I found it to be very effective against this, and basically it's a similar idea as the Samish. So anyway, just wanted to share this with you guys before we call it today, and that's all I have for you tonight. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining me. I am. Yes, Halvard, f4 is Austrian attack. I actually, yeah, Halvard and Hisoka like Austrian attack. I've played Austrian attack. I found 150 to be easier to play for whatever reason, f3 as opposed to f4. You know, so let me just put this on the board real quick. So you guys know what I'm talking about. Sorry, it's so. You know, so basically instead of playing f3, white plays f4, and this is called Austrian attack, and it's probably objectively stronger Austrian attack than 150, but 150 is easier to play, and the path to victory is easier, and I always felt that 150 was more intuitive. Hey, Kasparov, it's good to see you, my friend. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, you like playing 4 pawns against... yeah. I kind of always felt that, you know, f3 shores up the white center, and anyway. And then it's harder to make a pawn break than if white plays f4. Anyway, that's just a matter of taste. It was also... Oh, Casper, I had to stop playing chess tilting too hard. Please don't get me started. I'm not exactly Daniel Naroditsky in terms of how many mice I have sacrificed to the altar of Caissa, but let me put it this way, it's more than one. So tilting, unfortunately, is definitely part of chess, and I guess we have to get used to it. There is no other way. Anyway, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching this stream. Please mark your calendars. We have this match against Chiyu. It will be co-streamed on my channel and Chiyu's. We want you to stay in streaming. We want you to get partnership soon, and I'm looking forward to losing some interesting games. Oh yes, oh yeah, and. For the record, I finally, yesterday was a red letter day for me. I finally managed to won a marbles game. First time ever in Anamaya stream. So, thank you guys. Let's see. I actually felt better about that in the chess because I think I was like 99% did not finish until that point. All right, so let's send you raid to someone. Well, let's see who is streaming. Let's you know, I mean, let's see if you guys have anybody else. Okay. All right. You know who we actually never, and he's a huge supporter of us. We never actually raided Squirrely, so I'm gonna send you over to Squirrely. And Squirrel is a dear friend of mine. We are about the same strength. And I'm gonna say hello for me. Oh, hey, Worship, you made affiliate. Congratulations, my man. That's always good to see. That's good. I'm showing up on your next stream, and I'll show you some love. All right, I'll join you at Squirrely's. So talk to you soon, guys. See you Wednesday and then Sunday. All right. Okay. All right, almost there. Waiting for the button, and the button is pressed. And thank you. All right, cool. It's done.